this spelling mistake. Uh, the operational decisions. So first category, that is strategic decisions, which are less frequent, long lasting, and needs large investment. Whereas the operational decisions involves factors like how much a plant should be put under what crop, how much of the finance is required for raising the crops or the rearing of livestock, and the needed finance to be borrowed at the lowest possible cost and like. So these are recurring, like our class, which is going to be recurring every Wednesday and Monday, isn't it? So they are going to be more frequent in their nature, and they have the short-term influence on the farm business. So the different categories of farm financial decisions, either they fall under strategic management, strategic financial decisions, or the operational financial decisions. So operational decisions are what we call day-to-day decisions, which are needs to be taken on time so as to run the farm business successfully. Now coming to the different steps which are involved in the farm financial management. First one being the objective, isn't it? So without setting the objective, we cannot proceed, isn't it? Like that of the so every farm manager has a set of goals, maybe the maximization of the family welfare, which can be possible with maximization of the income, which is possible through increasing the production. How increasing the production can be achieved by way of what we call the optimum combinations of the inputs, or choosing the least cost combination of inputs. So like that, he will be having a set of goals, and he may be contemplate in achieving them immediately or sometime in future. So sooner or later, he want to achieve those goals. So whatever may be the time period, mostly his goals are revolve around effective management of the limited capital or the resources for increasing money inflows in the farm business. So inflows means that is going into the business, and outflows going out of the business. That is money inflows means how much he is going to earn from the different farm activities. So while setting the goals, the main underlying fact is that the financial manager should have the confidence of achieving them. That means he should be very, very confident. So self-confidence is most important. ಅಥವಾ ನಾನು ಅದನ್ನ ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾಡೇ ತೀರ್ತೇನೆ ಅನ್ನೋ ಒಂದು ಹಂಬಲ ಅವನ ಹತ್ರ ಇರಲೇಬೇಕಾಗತ್ತೆ. So say for example, before starting of any perennial crop on his farm, which has been started on fellow farmers field, he must consider their experiences to achieve the objective. That is means where he sourced that particular planting, and what was the spacing followed, what are the specific requirement of that particular enterprise or the crop that you want to undertake on his farm. So here the objective, the first step in financial management is setting the goals or the objective. Then after that, he has to recognize the problems or the constraints or the things which are very closely associated with that particular enterprise. So here the farm manager need to quantify the problems associated with the enterprise that he proposed to be undertaken on his farm. So he's facing the major problem of especially the large capital requirement, that is money requirement. Has he may not be having that needed resource endowment base, and need to raise the necessary funds through what you call the different sources or the borrowing. So after setting the goal, he has to recognize the problems associated with that particular enterprise that he plan to undertake or what you call the cultivate on his farm. Then after that, he has to analyze the things. So the manager has to analyze the pros and cons of that enterprise based on the information that is already gathered from the farmers who are adopting that particular enterprise. So he has to give a lot of thought at this particular stage. Suppose he succeeds in his efforts, then everybody will praise him. Oh, he's good, he is good. And he may be ridiculed by other non-adopters. And another point is that since he is a dependent heavily on the borrowed sources, so if he fails, then the repayment of which may make his situation still worsen, because he planning that particular kind of enterprise was to make the money out of it, earn more income. If he succeeds, everybody will praise him. If he fails, then he has to be very, very courage enough to face the consequences, especially in terms of repayment of the loans, or maybe the comments by other fellow farmers, because he is going to achieve that role of that innovator, leader, or what you call the first of its kind in the area. And then the next step after analyzing the things, he has to make the decision. He cannot run away from the scene, isn't it? So after having analyzed the problems from all the angles, he should now think seriously whether to opt for the enterprise or not. So take into consideration the negative points and the positive points. So the farm manager finally decides to go ahead with his plan if he having that confidence of becoming success in that particular endeavor or the new thing what he want to adopt on his farm, especially from the angle of financial commitments and the expected returns. So after making the decision, then the actually putting that plan into action. So action will be the next step, that is farm financial manager puts his plan into action, that is actually implementing the project. Then after implementing it, he has to bear the responsibility, isn't it? So he's fully convinced before implementation of the plan, hence he is responsible for the events to follow, whatever may be the consequence. So whatever they may be, he has to ready to bear them. So if the farm financial manager is successful, he will be definitely overwhelmed with joy, and for any reason, if he receives a setback or fails, then he tries to come out of the tangle where he has caught hold in that particular what you call the last situation. Then lastly, the evaluation. So this refers to the careful and continuous assessment of the changes that occur in the agro-socio-economic developments around the farmer. That means if he succeeds, then as I mentioned, he will be very happy. But further, he can think of from that point how he can increase to a little higher level the profits, how he can increase further from that point the still higher level of profits. If he fails and incur losses, then he has to analyze where he went wrong, what would have not been tried, or what are the things which have contributed for the failure of the thing and the resulting in the what you call the losses. That is why the evaluation will be the last step in what you call that farm financial decision. So I repeat, first one is setting the objective of the goals, recognizing the problems, analyzing things, making decision, taking action, bearing responsibility, and lastly, evaluating the outcome. Okay, I think it is clear. Now coming to the scope of this farm financial management. So as all of us know, in earlier days, the farming was practiced only on subsistence nature, and hence a capital and the credit need was relatively less because they used to what you call the maintain their farming only out of the inputs that are available with them, maybe the farm manure or the farm grown seeds, like that, or family labor. But nowadays, people they are very what you call the targeting the market, even whatever is the smaller size of the holding. So majority of the Indian farmers are small and marginal, as all of us know, and hence they found in a vicious circle of low income because the reasons because of small holding, production will be less and hence less savings, and in turn there will be less investment, and again leading to what you call the less income level of the farmers. So hence, to break this vicious circle of the what you call the poverty or the low income, the credit is very essential. So we have to inject at any level of this what you call the cycle, so that farmer can come out of this vicious cycle of poverty. Hence, during present days, Indian agriculture is relatively modernizing and becoming more capital intensive as it is dependent on many off-farm inputs. So, agriculture credit and agriculture finance assumes great importance. Now, coming to the different aspects that are related to the farming in relation to the finance. So, the relationship of this farm finance in various aspects of farm, like production, marketing, consumption, it is going to determine the scope of financial management. That means ಇದರ ಸ್ಕೋಪ್ ಏನು ಹೆಂಗೆ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋದಂದ್ರೆ ಇದರ ಉತ್ಪಾದನೆ, ಮಾರುಕಟ್ಟೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಕನ್ಸಂಪ್ಷನ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಹೌ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ರಿಲೇಟೆಡ್ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಡೆಫಿನೆಟ್ಲಿ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಈಸಿಯರ್ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ how much is the importance or what is the scope of this farm financial management. So three basic economic activities constitutes the managerial process of the farm. They are production, financing, and marketing. That is, he has to manage effectively the production, he has to manage his the financial requirement, and he has to manage the marketing aspect. So here the production activities comprise the decisions like what to produce, what would be the method of production to be adopted, and how much of each product can be produced, etc., etc. Then when it comes to the financial activities, it relates to the decisions of obtaining and use of the credit for different sources, for what time period, at what rate of interest, with what you call the repayment schedules, etc., etc. While the marketing activities involves the managerial decisions related to the procurement of inputs and selling of the output realized by that particular farmer. So this is how, for successful management of the farm business, he has to concentrate, pay equal attention for production, finance, as well as the marketing aspect of the farm business. Now, these financial decisions are more often not overlap with the production and marketing decisions. Say, for example, nature of enterprise and the quantum of produce definitely going to determine the amount of capital and provide solutions to the decisions of how much capital should be used in the farm business. That means the decisions what you are going to take with this production is not the same decisions what you are going to make with respect to the finance. So they are not overlapping. They are altogether different. So evaluation and involvement of the alternative among the enterprise is linked to the decisions of how products are produced. Analogously, marketing decisions are also linked with financial decisions but not overlapping, because product marketing and selection of the input marketing are often determined by the quantum of financing, because by the time the farmers are getting their produce ready for harvesting, they might have exhausted all their funds or the money. So hence government nowadays also financing for the meeting the money requirement for the marketing process, so marketing loan. So based upon the purpose of the loans, you are going to study later as the class and the course advances about the classification of the credit based upon the purpose. So if the finance is given for meeting the marketing expenses, that is called as marketing finance. So thus we should recognize that production, financing and marketing decisions are concerned with financial acquisition as well as what you call the use, depending upon the goals of the financial manager. So this clearly depicts that farm management and farm financial management are not altogether different, and in fact the latter is part of the farmer. That is, farm financial management is only a part of the farm management. Hence the concepts, principles, analytical tools, etc., which are going to be used or aid in the management of the farm are also applicable in farm financial management. That you are going to study the different analytical tools with respect to the financial aspect of the farm business. Now we shall move on to the concept of credit. So I think it has been customary and part of the people whenever they are being exposed for the new concepts. Let us start with from which language that particular term is derived from. So like that of economics, oikonomos, that is household management, isn't it? Like that. Here the word credit is derived from the Latin word credo, credo, which means I believe. So this credit is mainly based upon the faith of the borrower's willingness and ability to repay the amount borrowed. That means here it is a kind of faith or the confidence or the understanding between the lender and the borrower that is going to determine the continuation of this what you call the financial business. So the main advantage of this credit includes because of this availability of the credit, the burden on metallic money will decrease, and use of the credit instruments like checks and they are going to what you call the continue or the carry out their business. Okay, so after that, the credit makes the capital most productive. Yesterday, I made a mention about this point. That means credit itself is not an income, but it is going to help you to earn the income, and also it makes other idle resources for what you call the increased productivity and their best utilization to, so as to obtain the high rate of return. That means credit makes capital most productive. Capital means you may be getting confused. So credit and capital, they are different. Capital may be also not in monetary form like that of the land, or even sometimes we refer human resource capital, isn't it? Human capital, what means anything which aids in the production is called as capital, isn't it? So that is why credit makes other forms of the credit most productive, and most of the idle resources because of the lack of the credit might have been put to the best use, and they are going to help to earn the better income. And again, with credit, persons with meager financial capital can launch a big business. That means he may be having a good technical knowledge, graduation, some land, but if he is starving from what you call the money or the credit, or what you call the finance, then definitely with easy access to the credit, definitely can realize and achieve his dreams of what you call that launching a big business. That is why, and it is also advisable many times, that is, it is better always to start the business with the borrowed capital, because we'll be very careful about in spending the what you call the borrowed capital than inherited from our ancestors ಅಲ್ವಾ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪಿತ್ರಾರ್ಜಿತ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಅಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಅವರು ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ ಆಗೋದು ಕಡಿಮೆ. ನೀವು ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದು ಉದಾಹರಣೆಗಳನ್ನ. Only when if he is borrowing the capital, and he will be double careful in spending a rupee which has been, because he has to repay it on time. He has to repay it on time without what you call the delay. Otherwise, the interest rate is going to be mount up, and again it will be a burden on him. But however, in spite of all these advantages, credit is also sometimes abused on certain grounds, like the reckless borrowing ruins both the borrowers and the lender. That means reckless means without planning, if you are going to simply go on, keep on borrowing, then it may be the situation of the Modi, Niro Modi, not our honorable Prime Minister, or the Malya, Vijay Malya, which are going to what you call the ruins both the borrower as well as the lender. That is, lender even also going to be end up in what you call the lot of problems. That is why a lender always follows certain principles while giving loans to the farmers or the borrowers or the applicants, like that of he will be testing him against different R's, different C's, and the different principles or the 7 P's that you are going to study later. And the criterion should be followed while what you call the advancing the loans, etc., etc. And lastly, easy access to the credit may sometimes encourage extravagance, what you call that lavishness, or what you call simply keep on spending, because the loans are easily accessible. That is why these are the two grounds on which you can also criticize easy access to the credit has adverse effect on the productivity of the loan or the economy. Okay, now coming to the different instruments that can be used, which are also called as financial instruments or the credit instruments. They include the documents which enable the credit transactions smoothly. They help easy, safe, as well as efficiency in the transactions. Like many of you may be what you call already well versed with the usage of such things like that. They include checks. There are different kinds of the checks, like bearer checks, order check, crossed check, a post dated check, or a blank check, and the draft, that is demand draft that you have submitted at the time of your admission to the degree program. Generally, mainly to avoid that possibility of what you call the risk associated with carrying the liquid cash, you can make use of such what you call the financial instruments. And also hundis, which are also a similar kind of this demand drafts, but being used in earlier times, which will be consisting of an understanding between the lender and the borrower. And the promissory notes, that means whenever you are making some what you call advance payment or a borrowing, then you have to give a written statement about that I have borrowed certain amount of money from such person for a period of this at a particular rate of interest, like that, the promissory notes. And the bills of exchange also similar kind of financial institutions. And you are very much aware about this debit card, ATM cards, that is and the credit card. So this debit card, that is given being are issued to every account holder, whereas credit card, it depends upon the credit worthiness, depending upon his transactions or the what you call the salaries or the income. The banks are going to issue these credit cards. Now coming to the credit system. After understanding this credit is it is a certain amount of money borrowed for certain purpose to be repaid after certain period of time at a certain rate of interest to the lender. That is, there is a definitely a certainty exists with respect to the agency, with respect to the amount, with respect to the rate of interest, with respect to the time period. Okay, so hence, then to call a particular system relating to this credit good, what characters it should fulfill. So, as given at the regional seminar for Asia on agriculture credit for small farmers, being held at Bangkok during the month of October 1974, they have laid down certain points on which you can call that a particular country or the region or the state or a bank is adopting that particular kind of credit system to regard it as a good or bad. So the requisites are the what you call the requirements of a good credit system includes first one from especially agricultural point of view. Okay, first one is it should meet all credit needs of the farmers both, and it should be given both in kind and cash. So all credit requirement means, because the credit requirements does not remain same across the farmers. Even for the same farmers, they are going to vary at what you call the during different years, because they are going to be determined by the type of the cropping pattern and the type of the enterprise and the situation and things that are happening in the economy. So here all types of credit means short-term loan, medium-term loans, and the long-term loan. So these are the three types of the loans being classified based upon the time period of their repayment. So you are going to study in detail later along with the examples. But here, just remember, to call a particular credit system as good, it should meet all the credit requirements of the farmers, and it should be pervaded or distributed or issued both in kind and cash form. So kind, you may be wondering how that kind means. That means here nowadays you might have aware that India is having that widest network of its kind in the world, about this cooperative credit societies being functioning at the grassroots level, known as ಪ್ರಾಥಮಿಕ ಪತ್ತಿನ ಸಹಕಾರಿ ಸಂಘಗಳು ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿರ್ಬೋದಲ್ವಾ, ಹಳ್ಳಿಯಿಂದ ಬಂದವರಿದ್ರೆ, ಅಥವಾ PACS, PACS, primary agriculture cooperative societies. So you may be noticing that the farmer might have been sanctioned with a loan amount of 50,000. Out of this 50,000, about 30,000 worth of fertilizers and other things which are needed by him, like the seeds, etc., will be distributed in the form of kind. It is mainly followed to avoid the diversion of the credit. That means it should be used for the purpose for which it has been sanctioned. And cash means he may be also requiring the payment of the wages or any other what you call the cash requirement. That is why the loans should be as distributed by these financial institutions in the economy. To call it as a good credit system, it should contain all kinds of the loans, as well as it should follow that kind and cash components, mainly for the better utilization of the loan. Second one is, it should be made available as nearer to the doorsteps as possible and when it is needed. That means it should be timely and easily accessible. ಅದೇ ಹಳ್ಳಿಲೇನೆ ಆ ಒಂದು ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರೆ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, because they are not so well versed with what they call the procedural formalities, as well as the taking that long travel to reach these financial institutions. Then the third one is, it should generate savings and accelerate economic growth at the socially desirable level. ಸೊ ಬೆಳವಣಿಗೆ ಏನು ಜಗದ ನಿಯಮ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಡೇ ಬೈ ಡೇ ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಗ್ರೋ. We should not compare with other people. We should compare with ourselves. Yesterday how I was and how I am today and what I want to become tomorrow. So that we will not be having a kind of inferiority or overconfidence, etc. We should compare with ourselves. That is why even with respect to this agriculture also, or for the economical development or the development of the economy also, that credit should generate sufficient savings. How? That means borrowing the loan and keeping in savings account? No, it is not like that. So borrowing the loan, investing in some production activity, achieving higher level of production, earning more income, and after meeting all the expenses, you should be left with certain surplus known as the savings. So the credit system should generate savings and help in achieving that or accelerating the economic growth of the country at the socially desired level. Then next point is to call the credit system as a good system. This credit policy that has been implemented by the central bank of any country should reflect a compromise between often diverse plan objectives and differing group interests. Because say for example, the agencies or the stakeholders in this are mainly the credit institutions on one hand and the farmers on the other hand, isn't it? Just wait a minute, I need to check. Okay, friends, it was a problem with that power connection. Okay, so the credit policy that is being implemented by the central bank of our country, it should always achieve that compromise between the borrowers and the lender, because farmers always want at a lower rate of interest, while the lending institutions want to make the money out of it. Then how to bridge that compromise between these? So here the government or the central bank is going to lay down that standard rules and norms and the regulations, so that there will not be what we call much burden on the borrowers, and also these institutions can earn some what we call attractive profit out of the money or the credit being given by the central bank. The next one is, it should encourage, that is credit should, or the credit system should encourage the adoption of the new technology, without which sufficient capital cannot be generated to repay the loan, isn't it? That is why the credit system should encourage the adoption of the new technology, because this new technology is having the advantage of achieving the higher level of output with the given amount of resources, or to produce the given amount of resource output, you can reduce the usage or the money with the adoption of this new technology. That is why the credit system should encourage the adoption of the new technology. The next point is ensure matching of lending machinery and the recovery mechanism. Lending machinery, that is who are involved in advancing the loans or giving loans, and recovery mechanism, because they will be having every kind of the loan, they are what you call their the maturity time or the repayment period. So here they should match with each other. How it can be, later you are going to study. That means here you just remember there should be match between the lending machinery with respect to the rules and regulations about the rate of interest, time period, and the installment amount, etc., depending upon the nature of the returns what these borrowers are going to realize from their profession or the investment. The next one is it should finance the entire farm business, not a particular crop or a livestock or the agro industry, because all crops or all enterprise, they are not equally profitable. If they simply concentrate only on the what you call the highly profitable enterprise, like some protected cultivation of the flowers, cut flowers, the fruits, vegetables, which are having that export value, and neglecting this what you call the food grains, then what about the food security of the country, isn't it? So instead of that, or only if they are concentrating only on the dairy or poultry, which are more profitable definitely than the cereal or the food grain production. That is why here the credit system should finance the entire farming system. That means every enterprise should get the equal opportunity to being get financed from the institutions. Then next one is linking up credit with marketing agencies for better recovery. Not or sometimes you can also achieve that 100% recovery or the full recovery. So what happens? You might have heard that warehouse receipt, which is being issued to the farmers, whoever stores his produce in the warehouses or the godowns. So why it happens? Because that is paradox of plenty, or what you call the creation of the glut in the market, because immediately after the harvest every farmer brings the produce to the marketplace, but the demand being inelastic for these farm commodities, it is going to push down the prices. So instead of selling at throwaway prices or the lower prices, then instead if they could make use of this what you call the wide network of the storage facilities being created by the government in the form of warehouses, godowns, etc., then they are going to issue this what you call a receipt, and by pledging that receipt in what you call some financial institutions like banks, they are going to get about 75% of the worth of the good stored as a loan. So whenever prices in the open market start increasing, then they can take out the produce, sell in the market. At that point of time, these what you call the storage agencies are going to deduct that storage charges, and the financial institutions are going to deduct their loan advanced along with the interest, and whatever remains they are going to give back to the farmers. So with that intention and the better recovery performance, linking up credit with the marketing agencies is the another important requisite of a credit system to be call it as a good credit system. And lastly, it is necessary to maintain the low rate of interest as far as possible, because it is not so profitable when compared to the other businesses. That is, agriculture is not so profitable, isn't it? Because it is going to face a lot of risk and uncertainties, maybe the production risk or the non-availability of some of the quality inputs, or the attack of pest and disease, non-receipt of rainfall or heavy rainfall, etc., or even what you call the price risk. That is why it is always better, or you can also observe that the loans that are being advanced to the farming community are advanced at relatively low rate of interest. That is why, as it is being recommended and finalized during this that regional seminar for Asia on agriculture credit for small farmers as early as 1974, 47 years back only. Still, these things are to some extent being realized or being implemented by every country in the world with respect to the farm sector. Now coming to the problems of agriculture finance, before going for the classification of the credit based upon the different criterion, let us look at what are the problems that this agriculture finance sector is going to face. So in recent times, Government of India has taken several measures to raise the credit flow for the agriculture, but the financial or the financing of this agriculture sector facing several problems like limited coverage and continuing dependence on the money lenders. So whatever may be the network of these cooperatives or the commercial banks, but still in villages you could find the farmers are borrowing money from these the loans from these money lenders who are charging high rate of interest, and they are more and most exploitative in their nature. Second one is the another problem that is being faced by the farmers is complicated procedure. So farmers being illiterate and they are unable to furnish all the requisite information, and sometimes they may be denied of loans because of non-fulfilling all the requirements. The next one is wastage of time and manpower in getting loan facility on account of the repeated visits. At single visit, we cannot get it sanctioned. Even for the salaried people, many times we have to go to complete the formalities. But it is also not a fault on part of the lending institutions, because it is not their money. We have surplus money with them. They might have deposited there, or they have borrowed it from the higher financial institutions at certain rate of interest. So it is not a, they are not going to print the currency or the notes and simply giving. They are also borrowed it from somebody else. Okay, that is why here they are going to what you call the make you wait, not in a stipulations wait to complete all the formalities, so that they are going to what you call result in many visits and wastage of the manpower. Next one is lack of coordination between the different agents in credit planning. So credit planning, you know the meaning of planning. Credit planning means anything which relates to estimation of the what you call what would be the total requirement of the credit for a say particular a district or the state or the country as a whole for the coming season, with respect to agriculture, with respect to industry, and with respect to the other sectors of the economy. So here, however, there will be different agencies who are involved in what you call the preparation of the credit plan. And there is a concept called a DCP, District Credit Plan, which will be aggregated at the state level, known as the State Credit Plan, being finalized by the SLBC, that is State Level Bankers Committee. So here, definitely there will be different views about what they call the aspect related to finalizing the total quantum of credit for the different enterprise. That is also what you can put in the form of a lack of coordination among the different agencies in planning about the credit requirement of a district or a state or the country. Then misuse of loans for unproductive purposes. Definitely, it is a common feature. ಬೆಳೆ ಬೆಳೆಯಕ್ಕಂತ ಹೇಳೋದು ಇನ್ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೋ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟಲ್ಗೆ ಖರ್ಚಿಗೆ ಹಾಕೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಮಾಡೋದು ಅಥವಾ ಬೈಕ್ ತೊಗೊಳ್ಳೋದು. Lavishness will be there, as I mentioned, with respect to easy access to the credit, isn't it? That is why the diversion of the credit or misuse of the loans for unproductive purposes, which are not going to result in any production or earning of the income, then in that case, there exists gap between the disbursement and the requirement of the loan. Then the next problem that is being encountered with respect to the agriculture finance is inefficient administration and rarely work for the betterment of the farming community. ನೋಡಿ ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಯಾರಾದ್ರೂ ರೈತ ಸಾಲ ಕೇಳಕ್ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಾಳೆ ಬಾ ನಾಡ್ದು ಬಾ ಅದನ್ನ ತೊಂಬ ಇದನ್ನ ತೊಂಬ ಅದನ್ನೇ ನೀವು ಏನಾದ್ರು sometimes if they come to know just based upon nowadays, because everything is digitalized, the people or the bankers they have appointed lot of what you call the manpower, and they catch hold of your mobile number and simply sending message, calling you time and again, whatever may be the busy schedule of your maybe in class, maybe in meeting, maybe in some other urgent functions, but they will keep on calling you whether you want loan, and we are ready to finance, like that. But the same thing is not true with respect to the farming, because they are rarely working for the farmers. They are not so with a smiling face welcome the farmers whenever he approaches the loan, because the reasons are also quite obvious. Because the recovery percentage of this farm business or the productivity or the profitability is very less, as well as what you call lot of mounting overdues are there with respect to the farming community. So that is another what we call the reason, what we call the problem associated with the agriculture finance. Next one is regional imbalances in supply of credit leading to the poor productivity. That means different regions they have been what you call the endowed or the bestowed with the different kind of the fertility status with respect to the rainfall of the soil and the what you call the other agroclimatic conditions. Hence, because of this diversity of the regional imbalances, also what you call the same amount of money being invested at two different points or the regional regions or the geographical areas are not equally productive. Then mounting overdues due to the stagnation and frequent occurrences of the natural calamities. Very recently, we have visualized that floods in northern part of the Karnataka or in northern India, as well as these 2 years have just gone for this first time its kind in the world, that is the COVID situation. So in this situation, definitely there will be what you call not much interest is being taken by the farmers, and there will be almost what you call the stagnation or even the lower production, which is going to again add up to or piling up of that overdues. Then no provision of the consumption credit, which is mainly limited in urban areas. Hence, farmers again go to the money lenders who suck the blood of these farmers by practicing all possible malpractices. So that is why here, if institutions are also can think of advancing consumption credit. Consumption credit means not to buy the food, because nowadays nobody is facing the problem of a non-availability of the food or the food grains. Isn't this consumption credit means say buying of some bike, car, or any other what we call the things which are not going to result in any output. So for that, if but that is very very common with respect to the urban area, but it is very very limited in what you call, or even in fact absent with respect to the farmers. And then the next one is low rate of share in the development on account of low productivity and leading to low rate of savings and investment in the farm sector is another important problem, because no doubt we have achieved 6 times higher level of production when compared to the point of independence. At that point of time, only about 50 million tons of sugar have been grown in our country. But because of what you call the new technologies, and thanks to green revolution, white revolution, blue revolution, now the country's food grain production almost reached 300 million tons. But again, most of the crops have reached their plateau, the highest productivity. So the only options nowadays left with the breeders are the what you call the sorry agriculture scientists are only marching towards biotechnology, nanotechnology, etc., etc. So that from this particular point, how we can further raise the productivity of the farm sector. Then the last one is predominance of private agencies. So if larger production is the aim, money lenders credit is unsuitable. What I mean here, if you want to make the huge investment, but these money lenders are charging higher rate of interest, then definitely it is going to be a very big burden on part of the borrowers whenever they are going to borrow it from the money lenders. That is why if you are planning for any big business, then it is always advisable to go for or approach the institutional agencies, which are relatively less exploitative in their nature. But however, still there is a predominance of private agencies in the finance sector for the farm business. Okay, friends. Now we shall move on to the classification of the credit. As I mentioned, you can visualize here certain many times that word has appeared in this particular first statement, which gives you the definition of this term credit or loans. Just 1 minute. Then I'll got say that just wait, battery is just exhausted. Okay, friends, welcome back. So credit or the loans are the certain amount of money borrowed are provided for certain purpose on certain conditions with some or certain rate of interest, which should be repaid sooner or later. So there will be definite or certainty with respect to the amount, with respect to the purpose, with respect to the conditions like the interest, the time period, etc., etc., and to be repaid sooner or later depending upon the nature of the loans. So here there are different criteria, the basis on which you can group the loans into various kinds or the types of loans. Now, this table summarizes you the different almost 5 to 6 types of the basis on which you can group the loans into different categories. The first column is serial number, second column the category or the type of the loan, and the third column gives you the meaning about that particular category of the loan. So the loan transactions are generally presumed between the lender and borrower are basically governed by the confidence in the borrower. And the question of security may not arise at all in advancing loans to start with. For a smaller amount of money, only the understanding between lender and borrower can suffice the lending of the loan. But this assumption is confined to private lending to certain extent. But in the institutional lending, they have their own procedural formalities like that of obtaining the security, surety, the co-guarantor, co-obligant, like that. That is why here, based upon the security, the first criteria to classify the loans into different types is based upon the security. Loans are classified into secured loans and the unsecured loans. Again, there are 5 types of these secured loans. First one is, before that, what is secured loan? So loans advanced against some security offered by the borrower are called as secured loan. The different types of secured loans includes personal security, collateral security, chattel security, mortgage security, and lastly, hypothecated. The first one is personal security. As the name itself suggests, here the borrower himself stands as a guarantee and loan will be advanced on farmer's promissory note. That means a paper on which he is going to sign. And the third party guarantee may or may not be insisted upon in the case of this personal secured loans. Whereas the second type of secured loans, that is collateral security, which are advanced against some movable properties. So movable properties include, that means the properties which can be taken from one place to another place, like that of any the certificate of this life insurance, that is LIC bonds, or the fixed deposit bonds, or warehouse receipt, as I mentioned just now while discussing about the characteristic features of the good credit system. That is, farmers are received with that warehouse storage receipt. Then jewelries like your ornaments, machinery, livestock, etc., etc., they are being offered as the what you call the security to obtain the loan, which is mainly the followed in the case of institutional agency. Then the third category of the secured loans, they are the chattel loans. They are the loans with the some specific categories of lenders like pawn brokers by offering the jewelries, utensils made of some metals, etc. So ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ನೂ ಅದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಕಿವಿ ಓಲೆನೋ, ಉಂಗ್ರನೋ, ಅಥವಾ ಚೈನಾನೋ, ಅಥವಾ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಂತ ತಾಮ್ರದ ಅಥವಾ ಹಿತ್ತಾಳೆ ಪಾತ್ರೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅಡ ಇಟ್ಟು ಮೊದಲಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಳೆ ಮೂವಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿರ್ತೀವಲ್ವಾ ನಾವು. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಕೈಂಡ್ ಆಫ್ ವಾಟ್ ಯು ಕಾಲ್ ದ ಸೆಕ್ಯೂರ್ಡ್ ಲೋನ್ಸ್ are known as the chattel loans. That is with that particular specific category of lenders known as the pawn brokers, PAWN brokers. Okay. Then the next category of loans, secured loans, are the mortgage loans. So as against the collateral security, wherein the movable properties are offered as a security, in this mortgage secured loans, the immovable properties like land, farm building, etc., etc., they are going to offer as a security. Again, there are 2 types of mortgage loans: simple mortgage and equitable mortgage. Simple mortgage, it is especially with respect to the assets or the properties which are being inherited from their ancestors. So hence they need to be registered in the name of the banking institutions as security for obtaining the loan, and the registration charges needs to be borne by the borrower. So charges should be borne by the borrower only. So here in the simple mortgage, which is for or against the immovable properties or the permanent properties, they needs to be registered in the name of the banking institution, and the registration charges needs to be paid by the what you call the borrower. Whereas the equitable mortgage, It is especially adopted or applied when the self-acquired properties where no such registration is needed, as ownership rights are clearly specified in the title deeds in the name of the borrower. So documents will be obtained from the borrower as a security by the institutional agencies, and no need to go for registration in the name of the lender. So simple mortgage for inherited, SIIN. You can, for what you call, the easy to remember simple mortgage, inherited properties, registration is compulsory, whereas equitable mortgage is especially for the self-acquired properties only. That certificates or the documents, if they are submitted, that is suffices to obtain the equitable mortgage loan. Then the last step of the secured loan is the hypothecated loans, wherein the tractor and machinery loans are the good examples for this hypothecation, where you might have observed even on the BMTC bus hypothecated too, because this BMTC might have borrowed the loan and purchased that particular bus, or even that tractors, some machineries, etc., etc. HYPT and the notable hypothecated to say Canara Bank, GKVK, or hypothecated to some other banks wherein from which they have borrowed the loan. So especially from the viewpoint of this tractors and machinery loans, here the borrowers allow to use it and enable to make installment out of the income being earned, but at any case he is not entitled to sell the machinery until the loan is clear. So ಸಾಲ ಮುಗಿಯುವವರೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾರುವಂತಿಲ್ಲ, but they should keep on using it, because out of that only they are going to earn the money and enable to make the installment payment. So this installment andre kantu, so it is consisting of both the principal and the interest component. ಕಂತು, ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅಸಲನ್ನ ಸೇರಿಸಿಕೊಂಡು ಆ ಕಂತು ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಕಂತನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ these people needs to allow to use it, but they are not supposed to sell it until the loan is cleared out. Again, there are two types of this hypothecated loan. They are the key loan and the open loan. So the agriculture produce of the borrower will be kept under the control of the lending institutions for advancing the loan, which prevents the distress sale. That is warehouse receipt loan anta ನಾವು ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದಲ್ವಾ, ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಲ್ಲ, that is the key hypothecated loan. Whereas the open loan means here physical possession of the purchased machinery will be with the borrower, but the legal ownership remains with the lending institution till the loan is cleared off. So ಸಾಲ ಮುಗಿಯುವವರೆಗೆ ಅವರು ಅದನ್ನ ಮಾರಂಗಿಲ್ಲ, because it will be in the name of what you call that lending agency. Then as against these 5 types of the secured loan, the unsecured loan means based on the confidence between the borrower and lender, the loan transactions are going to take place, and there is no mention of any type of the security for obtaining the loan. So this is about the first category of the loans being classified based upon the security. Security means anything which has been offered. If he is unable to repay the loan, then the security that has been offered to obtain the loan will be seized or forfeited or taken away by these lending institutions. In the case of the secured loans, there are 5 types: personal security, collateral security, chattel security, mortgage, and the hypothecated secured loan. Then the second type for the day, so still about 8 minutes is there. Based upon the purpose, the loans are classified into 3 categories. ಯಾವ ಉದ್ದೇಶಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಂಡಿರ್ತಾರಲ್ವಾ ಅದರಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನ ಕರೀತಾರೆ. So there is some chat box. Sir, what is the difference between collateral security and chattel? Okay, let me clear it. So this especially this collateral security is being largely practiced by the institutional agencies, whereas this chattel loans only that particular what we call the special agencies called the fund brokers are going to follow it, which is somewhat older practice being followed in the country. Whereas with the establishment of all these institutional agencies in lending the loans, more of with this all the procedural formalities, the collateral secured loans are being practiced. It is with respect to the institutional agencies, whereas chattel loan is being practiced by the non-institutional agencies. Okay, second question in the chat box is, sir, which type of loan comes under personal security loan? So personal security means you might have your parents or your some elder brother may be receiving some frequent messages from the different banks, personal secured loans at within 30 minutes, within 1 hour. That means only based upon that credit score, what that particular person is possessing with the financial institutions will be the only what you call the guarantee for them about the security of their loan advance to you people or the particular person who has borrowed it. Okay. Here the type of the loan does not matter because they won't bother about the end use of the credit. So personal security loans only, it is mainly intended to, because sometimes ನೀವು ದುಡ್ಡಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಪರದಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಅವರು ಸಾಲ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋರಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಪರದಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ದೇರ್ ಟಾರ್ಗೆಟ್ಸ್. ಸೊ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್ ದೇ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಚ್ ಹೋಲ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಮ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ which will be studied through your what you call the transactions that you carry out with the different financial institutions being studied based upon your passbook or the deposits that you are having. So ಅಂತವರಿಗೆ ಮಾತ್ರ ಅವರು ನೀವು ಕಾಲ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ. You may be aware, nobody calls to a particular farmer ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಸಾಲ ಬೇಕಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಅದನ್ನೇ ನೋಡಿ ಯಾರ್ದಾರು ನೀವು ಸ್ಯಾಲರಿ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಅವರು ಇವರು ಅಥವಾ ಸಿಟಿಲಿ ಇರೋರು ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಹ್ಯಾವಿಂಗ್ ಲಾರ್ಜ್ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ವಿತ್ ರೆಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟ್ ಟು ದರ್ ಸೇವಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ account, maybe online payment, online purchase, etc., etc. Definitely, sooner or later, you are going to receive a call from financial institution whether you are in need of loans. Can we help you? They are with very easy terms and conditions, and within one day you will be getting personal loans up to 12 lakh rupees. But not 12 lakh for all the people. It is an example based upon what you call the situation, the condition that they are going to gauge about your financial or the credit worthiness based upon your transactions. But I don't know how they are going to catch hold of all such personal information, but because of all this digitalization, linking up account with the your Aadhaar number, bank account, etc., number, that is the only source on which they are going to study and make you the call. Okay, now let us go back to this classification of the credit based upon the purpose. If you look at the names, then you could easily understand production loans, marketing loans, and consumption loans. So based upon the purpose for which they have been advanced, they are called by that name. Say production loans for performing seasonal agriculture operation and to undertake the crop production, they are called as production loans. Seasonal agriculture loans are the best examples. Marketing loans, as I mentioned, to reduce the distress sale, forcible sale of the produce to get the remunerative price, farmer can use the warehouse receipt and get financial help up to 75% of the value of the goods stored, either from the regulated market or market and the commercial banks, and can clear off the loans by selling their produce later. Lastly, the consumption loans, which are unproductive loans. That means only now on the consumption purpose. Consumption means not only to eat some dishes. It is consumption means which are not going to result in any activities. Because in the first course only you have studied consumption means it is a purposeful destruction of utility contained in the commodity, isn't it? So consumption loan means the loans for say purchasing car, bike, or installing AC, fridge, television, which are not going to result in any output or the product, but they are being borrowed. So here these are the unproductive loan, as it is to meet the consumption expenditure, especially during the periods of agriculture bandaga natural calamities. But this assists in more productive use of other loans by averting the diversion of credit. So consumption loan kododu ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಉದ್ದೇಶನೇ. Otherwise they would have been diverted the loans from the seasonal agriculture loans or the loans which have been given for any other productive purposes. That is why the provision of this consumption loan will help in better utilization of the production loans or what you call the productive loans can be best utilized for the purpose for which they have been advanced. Okay, friends, this is what I want to communicate in this particular class. That is the classification of the credit based upon two purpose, that is based upon the security and based upon the purpose, along with the problems being experienced by this agricultural finance and the characteristic features of the good credit system, as well as the one more aspect that we have covered, that is steps in the farm financial management. So if you are having any doubts, only about 2 minutes is remaining. You can send the message or you can unmute your mic and ask the question. Sir, is credit and loan one and the same thing? Yes, credit and loan, they are one and the same, and agencies lending credit needs to be different from government source. Yes, here, as I mentioned, The credit can be borrowed from institutional agencies and private agencies. Again, under institutional agencies, we are having the banks, cooperatives, and other institutions which are regulated by the Reserve Bank of India, including government. Because this loan given by the government, they are called as Thakavi loans, but they are not in existence nowadays. Only in earlier time, before this wide network of the commercial banks and the what you call the nationalization of the banks, government also used to lend loans directly to the farmers, known as the Thakavi loans. Okay, so they are different. Institutional loans, nowadays government is not giving loan. Maybe giving some not the loan like that of a year farmers are getting about 6,000 rupee as a compensation directly, DBT, direct benefit transfer, and all those things. Loan means which needs to be repaid, whereas assistance is different. Huh? Okay, sir, what is meant by remunerative price? So remunerative price is a price which will succeed in giving back certain profit after meeting all the expenditure out of the income. ನೀವು ಗಳಿಸಿದ ಆದಾಯ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಏನೋ ಇನ್ಕಮ್. What is the total receipt you are going to earn from selling the produce? That will be your gross returns. After deducting the total cost from the gross returns, it should give back certain minimum profit. Minimum profit which will take care of the opportunity of what you call the opportunity cost of all the family members, including his management, returns for management, and returns for the family labor, etc. etc. Remunerative andre ಲಾಭದಾಯಕ ಬೆಲೆ. So it is a price which would result in some reasonable minimum profit to the farmer, is called as remunerative price. Okay, Gavish, this I think, thank you. You have sent the message that you have taken the attendance and kindly send it to me, share with me. Okay, are there any other questions? Kindly unmute and let me know. I will answer. If there are no questions, thank you. Thank you for joining the class. Have a nice time. Good day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.